Hi everyone, and thanks for joining us on this DIP Hangout about the spirituality construct. And with me is my guest, Eleonora Gozzini from Italy. Hi, Ele.
Hi, Kim.
So, we apologize for the delay. There were some technical difficulties that we had to direct, as there usually are when doing a Hangout. Suddenly, everything goes wrong. So, but it also allows you to kind of de-stress a little bit and get all the emotions out. So, with the topic of this hangout, I was thinking that in order to kind of um, define and explain and describe what it is that we refer to with spirituality or the spirituality construct in the mind, I was thinking that maybe Eleonora, maybe you can just share your experiences that you've had with it in your life so far, like how you have experienced it and defined it within yourself, so that maybe people can see what we mean by relating to your experiences.
Okay, I'll try my best, Kim.
Okay, thanks.
Spirituality was concept I later understood as a construct. I came to um, trying to disconnect from my national religion or national religious construct, which is Catholicism. So I was born a Catholic with no choice, because at the time when I was born, in Italy there were no other faiths represented. I grew up at a Christian school. I was raised not very religiously, but for those familiar with Italy, religion is embedded everywhere, just through our architecture, for example. So when I grew up and I didn't recognize myself anymore into this belief system, I looked for alternatives. And one alternative was the New Age movement and spirituality. So I didn't understand immediately that it was just a switch from one belief system to another within the same construct, basically. The belief that there's something higher than yourself and that there's powerful than yourself. God, identified as a male, was the universe. Not much difference between the two things because it was always an external provider.
So,
And
I just want to insert a
yeah,
question there. Sorry. So, just to kind of make it clear, when you say or refer to spirituality, like what do you mean exactly? Like, is there specific things that you came in contact with throughout your life? Okay, so that's like the new age concept. And I was just wondering, like,
yeah.
how did you come in contact with that, or where, or in what way did you learn about this new or different kind of religion or spirituality?
Um, I am not sure, Kim. I can't exactly remember how the switch happened. I was reading a lot of books. There were a lot of books about channelers that came out at a certain point. Um, Books about messages from the other side, let's say. And those messages were all about love and universe supporting us, wanting the best for us. So it was very appealing to me. I come from a religion that was not clearly supportive, so it was already a positive switch. So I would say it started through reading first, and then you meet what they say like-minded people. So people that are holding on to the same belief system. You start to go to meditation classes. You look into healing systems like Reiki. There's a whole body of knowledge that is connected to this new age idea and spirituality. Crystal therapies. So I looked into all those things.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
And then quite so what would be a construct? A construct is a set of beliefs, a set of ideas, a set of dogmas that are passed on from a certain movement, like in the case of the New Age movement, to their followers. So it's just something that you don't come to through experience. Accept the bundle of knowledge from somebody else. So, of a construct, something that was constructed by somebody else that I just adopted. Would you say that correct, Kim?
Yeah, I think that's very well explained actually, because that's also why I was asking the question about how you came in contact with it, because I was also looking at kind of showing that um, similar to religion, which often you come in contact with through family and community, and the community that you're born into, spirituality and the concepts related to it, like New Age or the soul or interdimensional beings or um, the white light, concepts like that would also be something you come in contact with at a certain point in your life, and that you then, in a way, adopt, just like you adopted, or like you would adopt a religion from parents or community or things like that. Oh, I think your audio might have dropped out for a moment.
Yes, the video as well, coming and going.
Oh, okay, there you are.
Now it's okay.
Yeah,
Mhm.
cool. So, next point is that I wanted to look at, the reason why we're doing this hangout on the spirituality construct, um, is to just look at, okay, why is it that you changed or decided to change that construct? Like, what was wrong with it, so to speak, or what was it about it that that made you think that this is not who I am, or this is not who I want to be anymore, or what was your motivation behind wanting to change it, or wanting to change
Um,
yourself in relation to it?
I would say that my first perspective relative to spirituality in general came when I Destiny, of Destiny. I didn't much question spirituality before, but when I came across Destiny and many questions were asked and many new perspectives opened up for me. And I realized how within this group of people, within the group of spiritual people, there was a lot of friction and a lot of polarity. So there was a very strong sense of us
Oh, sorry, the sound has dropped out again. Could you maybe repeat that last point that you mentioned?
instead of duality as being normality. So, and at the same time, I realized that there was a lot of friction within the spirituality movement. So there was a lot of us versus them, us the spiritual ones, and them the non-spiritual ones. The ones that are young souls. So there was always a sort of a sense of an aspiration to being superior, people who were not spiritual or inferior. So I was already this point at the time about spirituality and the spiritual movement. But when I met Destiny, a very interesting point came up for me in relation to spirituality, which was that a lot of the spiritual people that I knew or not rich. And this may sound like a not related point, but actually, what I realized was spirituality was just because it was a currency. It was a currency for people who didn't have access to material wealth. So they could, in a way, participate in the world through the currency of spirituality.
That's
I
very,
don't know if this makes sense to
yeah,
you.
that's actually a very interesting point to bring up because it makes me think about how often religion is introduced in poor countries. Like when certain countries get colonized, the first thing they did was send missionaries in there to spread religion to kind of, I don't know, I suppose give the poor people a way to cope or a way to
Yes,
still have this point of value within themselves, which then becomes their currency, where they
yes,
might be able to compensate for their lack of financial wealth with the
absolutely.
belief of having spiritual wealth and maybe more of a
Yes,
chance to get into the realm of heaven or whatever the place they might
yes.
have to find.
It's like a mean of exchange, you know, they exchange the platform on which you participate in the world. So the system cannot provide for everybody. So what it designs inside this is a forms where you have the impression that you are equally valuably participating when in fact you are not.
Yeah.
You see, so what they do is like they pull the carpet under your feet and then they give you another carpet and they tell you this carpet is better because you will get all the goodies after death. So this was the idea of religion, but it's the same idea within the spiritual construct, you see, because you don't have it in the same wording, but you talk about ascended masters. So there's a way to ascend. There's a way to rise up, which you cannot do in any other way in the world without money. You see?
Yeah, that's a very, very cool point to bring up. So, would you say that when it comes to the spiritual construct, that perhaps something to investigate might be if there is that point of lack within yourself where you actually maybe feel inferior to the world system, to maybe other people, or just money, or jobs and employment, and like everything that has to do with your kind of environment and the system that we have here in this world and that you exist in. Would you say that, if you are a person who defines themselves as spiritual, that this might be a valid point to investigate, like, where am I actually feeling maybe disempowered or inferior or less than or of lesser value, which then, might actually be my starting point for going into spirituality or religion in the first
Yes,
place.
absolutely, Kim. I think that this would be actually the main point that spiritual people should investigate. So, where is the starting point of my spirituality? Why? Why did I feel the need spiritual? For me, even though at one point I rationalized the point and I saw that it was not valid, but because I participated in the point for a long time, long time, construct is in a way manifested inside my body as a blockage, as something that doesn't allow me to express myself fully, because part of me was invested, and so is physically invested into this idea that I am not enough. Because interestingly, the point of spirituality that I am investigating at the moment came up in relation to investigating the point of devaluation, so of not being valuable. So there was a connection there that wasn't clear to me, because I was looking at some other points, some other things that were going on inside of me, inside my life. And I didn't see that there was this connection, long-term investment that I made into spirituality. So definitely the point of value, the connection between value, feeling devalued, feeling worthless, back to before spirituality, strong.
Yeah, I suppose that does make sense when I look at, you know, what people's starting point would be within religion, as in kind of that desire to be recognized by God or to be embraced by God and the heavens, or spirituality in terms of being embraced by the white light or by angels, or being enveloped within white light, and things like that. There, it does
Yes,
look like there's this strong kind of search for value and maybe acceptance, or some form of um, validation, perhaps, where the individual within
definitely.
themselves might actually, you know, deep down within themselves might actually feel in some way, somewhere, of lesser value, or less than.
Yes, definitely. I would say that.
That's very interesting, and it's also something that, I, in self honesty, like being honest with myself, if I have a look at, my relationship with spirituality, which I did dabble with a little bit in my life, and even my relationship with then destiny, which I also encountered after, or during my spiritual kind of quest. Even my relationship with destiny was in a way of a spiritual nature or of a religious nature, where I would
Yes.
essentially, with the spiritual construct in the mind, what I'm looking at is just this kind of tendency to want to believe in something, or this tendency to um, place this value on something or someone that you kind of place on a pedestal, like God or the white light or angels or whatever it is, where you then kind of want to devote your life for this thing, or you want to be good in order to get the approval or the recognition or the acceptance of this thing or person, which has then which was my relationship with spirituality and with destiny, where I just made it into kind of a religion where I would just, kind of long for that experience of being accepted. Where it took me a
Right.
long time to correct my relationship with myself, first and foremost, of actually realizing my own value, and then realizing that actually destiny isn't a religion. Like, destiny doesn't proclaim itself as being a religious organization. It's just kind of an organization of people that stands as the point of questioning, like, let's unconditionally investigate these things. But,
Yes.
because of that point of uh, devaluing of self that exists in many people, like, a lot of people will kind of make a religion out of destiny as well, or out of anything, really not really seeing that the reality of it.
I agree because I something into a relationship, like for example, spirituality within my relationship to religion, which I didn't understand how to correct it. So I tried to drop it, was still there. So I was modeling a certain kind of relationship. I pretended to drop it because I didn't know anything else. Moved into spirituality within the same parameters of relationship. My previous relationship religion to my new relationship to spirituality. No difference. I think this is what happens to us in many of our relationship in life. For example, even if you take a relationship with a person, or you hear some women problems with men, and they will tell you that they have 5, 6, and the patterns are always the same. These men are always the same. It is the kind of relationship that we carry that we don't change, that we tend to replicate in another relationship. So as we do with people, we do with things, we do with associations. We we really lack.
I'm not hearing. I'm not hearing you at the moment. I'm not sure if that's only for me, but I think you might be back. Nope, I didn't hear the entire last part. Too bad. But the gist of what you are saying, I think, is that it's about the relationships that we already carry inside of ourselves, like with ourselves, basically, like a relationship of just not valuing ourselves is then what determines and kind of becomes the foundation of the relationships we form with anything in our reality, which is why we will experience a lot of the relationships we form with, you know, partners to be the same, and then kind of go into that questioning of, you know, why is it that I'm always dating the same kind of men or women? You were back for a moment, but no, no hope there. Okay, I'm just gonna. So yeah, I would definitely agree with that, and it's a very interesting point to look at with you, where you mentioned how you shifted, how you just kind of shifted your relationship that you already had with religion and just kind of carried it over into spirituality, where it was only the kind of image that changed, so where you in a way might have been able to convince yourself that you did change your reality, like things did change for you, but actually looking at the relationship that was still there within yourself, it was actually exactly the same in spirituality as it was with religion, where you were actually kind of just looking for an experience of worth. Nope. Still no sound. Yeah, no, no, it's not happening. Maybe if we wait a little bit. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, you're back. Okay, yeah, there you are again. All right. So was there any other point that you were trying to bring across as you were, as your audio fell out there?
Like to talk about, because it is spirituality, but that in my case, not him. Now you're
What
back.
was that? Sorry.
With that, in my case, so from a religious construct to spirituality, and then
Right.
from spirituality to doubting the spiritual construct. But now that I'm pulling apart all these relationship and the origin of them, interesting for me to see is that my religious construct is gender problematic. In the Catholic religion, God is a male. Yes? So
Yeah.
if you are projecting this power, this value outside of yourself on a male figure, so this can create problems in your relationships with males as well. There are kind of strange ramification from a marriage. I don't know if this is clear. So this was actually my experience lately. So this was why I started to pull apart this construct, because with your help and who are supporting me in this journey, I realized that something was not supportive. Something was happening to me that not supportive to me I can live. And so I went and looked at what could it be, and it was speed, but it was problems with men as well. But it took me quite a long time to see that those two things, in my specific case, there is a connection between the two things. You following me, Kim?
Kind of.
So imagine that.
I think. Yeah. Yeah. Continue.
So imagine that you have. You are told that there is this creator that is much more powerful than you, and is a male. So you take this. Then you try to rebel to this idea, like this belief system. Don't really drop it. But because you want to disconnect from this idea that males are more powerful than you, because that's basically the the juice of the story, isn't it? In a country like this male god, male creator, and in women in their relationship with men as well. You follow me?
Where they would, I think so, like where they would in a way want to rebel as well against men.
Yes. Yes, because, for example, in my case, I always felt a sort of competition with men in my life. But I cannot understand why I'm competing because I don't compete. I don't compete. Normally, like I'm not a competitive person, but with men, I must prove that I am better than they are. I can do things better, more perfect,
Yeah.
and I use my time better. And so until I really crush them, and there's no need for that. So part of this behavior, for example, is an attempt, subconscious or even deeper level, to even the field, because not because the men are the problem, because I am the problem, because I accepted the idea that male or man or God creator man is more powerful than me. So I'm trying to prove that it's not true.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, I can relate to this point of feeling like you have to compete with men because I've always experienced that as well, where I felt like I somehow needed to prove myself in relation to the men in my reality. Like I needed to prove to them that I am equally or even more intelligent and skillful and, you know, capable than they are. Like, and looking at it, it was always coming from this kind of feeling of being disempowered and this deep kind of belief that just because I'm a woman, somehow that makes me inferior and somehow that already sets me back, and that there is just this inherent belief that because I'm a woman, it means I'm just less in everything in relation to men.
Yes,
So
totally.
yeah, I would definitely agree that on a very deep level, because we're talking about the entire history of mankind, wherein religion has shaped and molded our very society that we live in, that on a very deep level there are those kind of religious beliefs of men are superior to women,
Yeah,
because it's just been the trend all throughout history.
yes. The reason why we look at these constructs is because, as we said before, they have ramification in people's lives that may not be immediately clear, but they can create consequences. They can create a life of behavioral repetitions that you are not clear about, like this point we are talking about of competing with men. And the root of this problem is so remote from the men you are competing with. So it's actually quite interesting to look at the beliefs we hold, supportive or not, correct ourselves.
Hmm. Yeah, and to also maybe um, I would say for people who might be like, well, I'm not religious, because a lot of people might define themselves as being atheists and as being not religious or spiritual. Um, I would say to, regardless of how you define yourself or what you associate with on like a conscious level, we're discussing the spiritual construct that exists in each and every person's mind, which is on a, many much more deeper levels. So it's still very relevant to ask yourself these questions of, what deep belief systems do I actually carry in relation to who I am, uh, you know, in relation to the people around me, the world around me, and where do these belief systems come from? Because in a way, we all carry that religious construct inside of ourselves of just having belief systems.
Absolutely. For example, I want to say one thing. In Italy, there is a doctress that is is being very persecuted for the work she does. She's a doctress, a surgeon. She's a very knowledgeable woman, and she heals a lot of women with um, female problems, let's say, gynecological problems. She heals them through homeopathic remedies that are based on religious constructs. So she found that a lot of women, even the one that say, I'm not religious, I don't go to church or anything, she still gives them some homeopathic remedies in a verbal form or in a rich form to help them overcome some of those cultural beliefs themselves, even if they're not aware of them. And she has had a lot of success healing these women from things that are not addressed by our official medicine. So she looks at the root of the woman's problem, the woman that is going to her for healing, and she looks if she has a problem of devaluation. So if she finds a problem of devaluation in woman when the woman tells her story, her a remedy that is based on healing the religious beliefs that she holds inside herself, that may have come to her from the collective, once Jung used to call it the collective unconscious. But let's imagine that there is a common pool of belief within a culture, absorb when you are born in a special country. A special country like Italy, like when you special people retarded.
Hmm.
Italy is a little retarded. Interesting. When I came across her work,
Oh no, your sound is out again. I really wanted to hear that story. uh, um. Oh, okay, you're back. So when you came across her work,
yes, when I came across her work, I said this was very interesting, Kim, because she said, even women that say I'm not religious, I was not even raised religious. I was not matter because religious country. You were born in a religious country that carries a lot of religious symbols. You have seen a lot of symbols of Mother Mary, because this is another story, you see, that one day we should talk about. Because now we talked about the problematic aspect of the male figure religion. Consequence can it? But there's another aspect which is the female religious figure like Mother Mary, devaluing figure because you see, she was mother. Whatever you do, you'll always be led Mother Mary because you're either a mother or you are a virgin, but you can't be both. Even the female representation in religion, so the most holy woman is still an image of devaluing the normal, or your ordinary woman.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess, I mean,
So
if
there are
you,
many points. Yes.
well, yeah, I guess if you were to take Mother Mary as your role model, it's like you can never be perfect. You can't ever be good enough because it's like you got to be a mother, but you also have to maintain your virginity. I never looked at it that way. It's actually an interesting point.
Yeah.
So we're pretty much at the end of our hangout time wise.
Okay.
I just wanted to still look at, just see if you have anything to share in terms of how you assisted and supported yourself exactly in, to step out of these constructs, to step out of those belief systems, and to maybe establish that point of self value. Were there any specific things that you did to assist and support yourself within that?
Yes. So my life is very busy lately and I didn't have time for writing. I applied the tools that I learned from Destiny. Um, I apply these tools when I drive my car because I have quite a journey to make to go to the closest city when I go once or twice a week. Are you still there, Kim?
Yeah, yeah, I'm here. I can see me and I can see you.
Okay.
Okay.
And so I applied the tools by bringing up through my voice to myself the construct itself, the memories, what are the beliefs I hold and why. And if I find some are not in alignment with myself anymore, I delete them, like how would you say, from a software code, I delete them by applying self-forgiveness. So I do this and I try to dig as deep as I can into the root of my beliefs, let go the ones that are not supporting me anymore. This is what I have done to assist myself.
Cool. And what just came to mind is that maybe when, people watching this hangout might immediately create the association between the term self-forgiveness and religion, because that, is a connection that
Yeah,
has been made with forgiveness and God and Christianity and those things. But
right.
maybe we should just do another hangout sometime in the future, going over what self-forgiveness actually is as a tool of self-support, where you can, or through which you can actually release belief systems that are lodged into your mind.
Yes.
Um,
Yes, I think
cool.
that that would be very supportive because mm, the connection is there inside our mind between forgiveness, self-forgiveness, and religion. So people can understand that it is, maybe they can even understand that it's possible that this tool was even stolen by religion, because They didn't have the best intentions so far. And that an association in the negative was created, like,
To kind of
for
corrupt it.
example, the Catholics will tell you that only God can forgive. So it would be quite cool to look into that as well.
Yeah, like how religion might have hijacked forgiveness or self forgiveness and turned it into asking for forgiveness from a higher power in order to corrupt and sabotage the actual potential that exists within the application of forgiving
Right.
yourself.
Yes, I
Yeah,
think
that's a
so,
very
Kim.
cool
You know
point.
that.
Like, yeah, like why has that connection been created with religion and uh, forgiveness? So, all right, thank you very much for being on this hangout, Ele. That was so educational and I very much enjoyed it. And I'm sure that people watching also
Thank
enjoyed what
you,
you had to
Kim.
share.
I enjoyed being with you.
Um, Great. So, is there anything else left to say? Do you have any like last words that you want to share?
No, I think we said many words and we opened up quite a few interesting perspectives that maybe people want to consider. And to maybe consider looking into the tools of destiny, as we said many times, it's not a cult, it's not a religion, it's not a faith. They are tools, they are free, nothing in this world, and people can try them out for themselves and see if they can be helped by them. So those would be my last words.
Cool. Some last words of support. Um, all right, so I hope that we can meet again in the future for another hangout. And
You can make it so I don't have to hold my phone get tramp.
yeah, Google was giving some issues. I don't know. I'm sure it'll be corrected soon. Okay.
No, next time I plan it better. It's not your fault. It's my fault. I always come at the last minute and everything. Next time I plan it better, Kim. So we make it work from the laptop.
Yeah, we just need to get together earlier, I guess. But it still worked
Yes.
out, so no worries there. Alrighty,
Okay.
so we'll just leave it here then. Bye,
Okay.
everyone. See you next
Chat
time.
again soon.
Bye.
Bye bye.